Welcome, everyone, to today's podcast episode. You're listening to the Home Design Podcast. My name is Adam Kayce, your host, and we aim to educate, inspire, and connect South Florida with the industry authorities within their trade. Today, we're diving into everything that you should know about plants, from real to synthetic to inside to outside to artificial floral ceilings. Yes, you heard that right. This guy needs no introduction. I'm going to do it anyway. Matthew Lang, the official, the one, the only, the plant guy.
Awesome. I love that.
You like that?
Thank you.
All right. Like, I mean, I feel like everybody knows you. You're out there, you know, social media. You're like a rock star plant expert. So
I like this.
You know, I really appreciate you being in here.
Problem.
And, you know, at the end of the day, we want to talk to the experts about what everyone should know when it comes to plants. But before we go into that, who is the plant guy?
Wow, that's a big question.
Right?
No, the plant guy is simple, boy. I was born and raised here in South Florida, and I've just been doing plants ever since I was a kid, you know. But it wasn't until I got older that I realized, well, gosh, this is what I'm going to do. It was right around actually when the market crashed in 2008. Yeah. So that's when I basically started. I said, hey, I'm going to turn this into a real business.
Absolutely. But you didn't start as the plant guy.
No. I started, well, it goes back to Green Thumb Pottery, but it was.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Green Thumb Pottery. And I basically sold big, heavy clay pots and any plant that I can get my hands on. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the plant boat because you had a idea delivering plants because your store was right on the intercoastal. You could go up and down delivering plants. But, you know, today we have Matthew and he is the plant guy. You know, just talking a little bit about that. I mean, you truly turned a passion into purpose and it is a thriving business today.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for that. Yeah, definitely. I sold the plants that I had. They were my plants, you know, and that's how I started. But I've been through it all. I've learned a lot about indoor, exterior plants. And, you know, being down here in South Florida, we have a lot of salty air and all those kinds of things, really hot sun. Yeah. You know, so I've become kind of an expert at that, you know.
Without a doubt. And that's the thing. Like, a lot of people think about plants and, you know, even myself, you know, it's a scary thing. Like they look so simple and definitely not complicated, but you know, you have to take care of them. There's a lot of care, and especially like I want to go into house plants first because there's so many species, and you know, especially today, biophilic design is such a hot trend with interior design and everything else, and you know, people want plants in their home.
Yeah, it's interesting. People will come inside and go, oh, is this an inside plant? Well, listen, all plants are outside plants. Right. Let's just put that there. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring an outside plant inside. So imagine it's a plant that's from the forest. We're going to bring it inside. They were not meant to be inside. Right. So basically, if you look at it like this, you know, you have a forest and anything down below the base where it's like the ground, which is very dark, that's generally the type of plant that's going to fit inside.
Okay. That makes sense because you have the canopy, like, you know, you don't need a lot of sunlight. Correct. You know, obviously, I'm sure that how they're watered and how they're able to, you know, filter out, you know, is very different from obviously, you know, the top growing trees.
Exactly.
So, you know, talking about some of these big trends, you know, like I feel like everybody's looking at fiddle leaves, snake plants. You know, give us some more like when people and also different homes, they're all different designs. You know, today like boho chic is very popular. You have extremely modern and simplistic, and then you have like more of the traditional Spanish Mediterranean style homes. Correct. When you're designing these homes or helping these homeowners or designers select the right plant, does that play a role as far as the type of home and the type of plant you place?
Oh man, it's so huge. This is a big deal because a lot of times I'm in competition with the designer, right? Because I'm the one who knows. Really, I know it's going to work. I can tell you in a minute if it's going to work or not. You don't realize that. Say, for instance, you have a living room and you have sliding glass doors. Well, that little section to the left, that's drywall, or the right, and you turn that corner, you just lost all the light. Right. And so we really need to put the right plant there, right? And then another factor is that most homes these days that are new, they have built-in UV tolerant windows. Like it's built in. Even though it's clear, it's UV and UV tolerant, meaning it takes all the good light out.
Right.
So you think you have good light, but you really don't.
So what did people do in that case?
Well, it's so, like you said, Fiddle Ficus, that's the number one plant right now, right?
Right.
And so when people walk in, I'm like, oh no, they're going to want that. So, right.
So you actually get scared when people are like, start with the fiddle leaf.
Right. Because it's going to be a phone call later, right? So, but yeah, I only sell that plant if I see that they have amazing light.
Right.
They need to be facing southern,
right,
or an east or western exposure, like 3 good 4 hours of good, almost direct sun.
Okay.
Right. That's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
So but there are plants that work. It's funny. We're talking about plants inside. I developed, I have something patent right now it's in patent processing.
Are you allowed to share? Like, is this,
I can talk about it.
Okay.
You can't see it visually.
We're not going to show anyone yet, but when it's ready, we are going to publish it. We're going to put it out there, but
in 3
tell us
weeks
a little
from
bit.
now, I'll present that out.
That's amazing.
It's so cool. Just like, so for instance, I'll talk about a certain plant. It's called Pothos Vine.
Okay.
Pothos Vine. Everyone knows what that is, right? Yep. And that grows inside amazingly. But the problem is
low maintenance.
Right, low maintenance, but it's a tabletop plant.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But the problem is people want trees that go vertical in the space, like in a corner over here. They want it 6 foot, 8 foot. Well, typical, if you say trees like more sun.
Right.
It's really hard to get a tree inside. It really is. With the design that I came up with, it's taking those Pothos vines, it's turning them on their side, and we stack them.
That's incredible.
It's such a beautiful thing. It's also self-watering.
Will it force it to grow up the stack? Like,
oh yeah, it automatically, the minute you get it, you're going to have plants all the way up. So it's instantly just solved the problem. Right. And then, but because it is a low light plant, it's going to take off.
Right. Exactly.
So it's such a great vertical design. And so now you can hit that vertical area that you need to do.
So basically it's self-watering, low maintenance.
Yeah.
You get the height. It can be any height, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're starting out at 6. They can go 8, 10, 12.
That's amazing because that's filling a major, I guess, issue in the sense of like when people want plants, they want it to like a piece of art.
Correct.
They want it to fill a corner or fill a wall or whatever it might be.
They want greenery inside, in that room, in that corner. Right. So this solved that problem, but stay tuned for that.
And there's something to be said about greenery as far as just the feeling you get when you have plants and even just the color and we'll go into the artificial side because you've also come up with some amazing and creative ways to give the most realistic and actually real, but also synthetic products. But let's first go into that in the sense of the product itself and what that's really accomplishing for these people.
For the artificial?
For the artificial itself.
So artificial, what we've done is, like we were talking about the Fiddle Ficus.
Right.
So what we do is we work with a local guy that he actually trims large trees.
Yep.
We take all those trimmings, right? And I'm talking about big branches, big trees. So it's not like we go cut them down, but we get these.
You're harvesting. You're taking.
We're saving
recycling
them. Recycling. So we're saving these trees, and then we're drying them out, and then we put them in a bucket. We making them vertical, and then we put all these back in artificial
leaves,
and it's a realistic looking Fiddle Ficus.
So I have seen this firsthand. Matthew, obviously his showroom is like none other. It's anyone that's listening, you have to visit the Plant Guy. But what's really unique is, so just so you can paint the picture a little bit further, this is a real trunk, I guess, branch, and you hollow out or you manufacture it to be able to adhere these synthetic trees. So basically you have the real, but the part that's most difficult to keep alive, you're giving the synthetic.
Correct.
So it's amazing. And basically that solves the issue in a great, resolution as far as for people that want the fiddle leaf, but probably are not going to take care of it the way they should.
Correct. Absolutely.
So talking about that and then going into like the self-watering system that, you have developed. There's been a lot of products and evolution of planters specifically that are available that a lot of people don't necessarily, they're used to maybe going into the Home Goods or Home Depot and you see a plant and that's what it is. But planters go so much further to simplify that process. So I do want to talk about a little bit of the evolution of, self-watering planters, because you have seen them when they've started to where they are today.
Yeah, definitely. There's a company that I use. It's called Lechuza. Yeah. And it's a German brand, and it is an amazing product. So basically, it's imagine a planter, but the reservoir is in the bottom of the planter. All live plants grow feeder roots. Feeder roots are roots that can sit in water. Okay, so the water is in the bottom of this planter, and there's a screen above that water. So these roots will grow right to that water and drink it. The only thing that you have to do is pay attention to the reservoir, which it tells you you're low on water. You fill the tank up, you're done. Okay, right? And that's the challenge that people have is they don't know when to water. They look at a plant, they go, "Oh my God, it needs more water. Let me put more on it." You
don't know how much, how often.
Probably not the problem, right? It was probably not the problem, but it's generally it's a little bit of everything, But the good key to always know this: if you have low lighting, you need to do low water.
Okay.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah, makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Not more water.
Right.
Okay.
Without a doubt. And if somebody doesn't have one of these self-watering planters, is there like a trick of the trade to know whether or not the plant really does need water?
Well, yeah, you can definitely go on Amazon and order you a water meter, tester meter.
All right.
Yeah, like $12, save your life right there.
It saves hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars. I mean,
so it's basically a probe. It's about 12 inches long, and you just push it into the soil. It'll tell you if it's wet or not.
I wish I got one of those for myself for some plants that I've had that I feel like I've given up, and I bug you. I'm like, man, I need some of these synthetic plants because the challenge is, for homeowners, it is a task.
Yeah.
Something else that I've thought that you read and you hear, it's like, do people have to talk to plants?
Right. Exactly.
Is that a real thing?
Well, you know what? People forget.
Yeah.
Plants are living.
Right.
Do you know that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So think about it.
Right.
We just think they're just plants, right? But they're breathing. They're legit breathing. They need water like we need water.
Right.
They need sunlight. They need vitamin D. They need all of that, just like we do.
Yeah.
So
talk to them. Clean them.
Touch them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because there is something to be said for that, and the feeling and everything that you get for being able to add life to your home is so important. Right. Not only aesthetically, but mentally. It increases production and increases happiness and stress.
It's a huge study with that,
Absolutely.
Biophilic design and all that. And even in the artificial. So they are saying you get the same feeling. How many times have you been somewhere and you've seen an artificial display of plants and wow, this is nice.
Yeah.
Like it feels good. I think it has a lot to do with the color green.
Absolutely.
And making you feel like you're out in nature. But that's amazing.
It's all life. Like green, you
100%.
You associate with life. And going from inside to outside, because obviously you still have to have the proper setting, proper sunlight for all different types of plants. Yeah. And for you, I've seen you doing these projects where you're like bringing in full trees into like
a small
pot, like an entryway of a home that obviously has sunlight, to obviously doing things outside on balconies, creating privacy walls.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of different things that you're doing, but just talking about outdoors in particular, what plants are you working with most when it comes to some of these outdoor designs?
So outdoor, well, here we're in South Florida. I don't know how far this podcast goes, but
anywhere,
it's really great to check. Google it. What's a native plant to your area?
Right.
Bingo. There you go. And why I say that is because if it's native, then that's what the rain will require it, right? See, we tend to bring in plants from all over the world into Florida, right?
You force it.
And so like I have these Indian Ashoka trees in front of my house. They're absolutely stunning. Oh my gosh. But guess what? They won't survive on their own. They have to have sprinklers.
Gotcha.
They have to. Whenever I'm doing a planter install, I really search for plants that are native to the area.
Okay.
So they only require the rain.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good point. And that's also peace of mind for the homeowner because,
absolutely,
there's different people for different things, but you have to know what you're signing up for when you're planting certain things.
Yeah.
And also, and I'm forgetting the name. When I was in your showroom, there was a specific plant. It may have actually been an indoor plant that there's only like however many in the world. And I'm talking about probably no more than 100 or something like that. Very exclusive.
Yeah.
Do you get that a lot in general as far as when it comes to these exclusive types of plants that are difficult to come across?
Yeah, absolutely. I search for them. So the one you're speaking of is called Coccoloba Rugosa.
That's right. I would have never remembered that. So
it's from Puerto Rico. It's amazing. It's basically a giant sea grape, but wow, it does amazing inside. So there's only 450 in the world, you know.
That's amazing.
But I have quite a few of them. But yeah, I search for cool, exotic things.
Absolutely. And that's what makes you unique. You know, and also talking about outside, because privacy walls are big, especially in these condo living type of scenarios where, you know, how far can you really go on a balcony and giving that aesthetic and giving, you know, the greenery. You know, there's a lot of condos down here in South Florida. So let's talk to the condo owners or condo designers for now.
Right.
What should they be looking for?
Right, as far as for doing privacy,
or so I have start with privacy.
Yeah, so I have two versions of that. I go one way is we have our artificial. So we need a base, we need a planter to hold it, right? So we designed this aluminum frame that goes inside of our long rectangle planter, obviously, and we then cover that in artificial ivy.
Okay,
right? But we also went a step further, and we took this frame, and it's all aluminum, no rust, right? And so it slides out. Lightweight, but it slides out of the basin in case there's a hurricane coming.
Okay.
Right? So we
have to be mindful of that.
Right. So that's that. And then also, if we're going to go live, my favorite choice is Sansevieria, right?
Okay.
Snake plants,
Yep.
right? Mother-in-law's tongue. Or Clusia, which is a huge Florida native. And it just can live off the rain, you know?
In talking about snake plants, because I love snake plants.
Yeah.
You know, they gives the modern aesthetic. They look beautiful. Correct. They fill out. I've had them indoors.
Yeah.
I have them outdoors.
Right.
You know, my wife always asks me, like, why can't you keep our snake plant alive? Call
inside?
The plant guy inside.
Let me ask you, how often do you water it?
I would give it like 16 ounces, like once every 3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
But like it was doing good for a while. And I mean, I impressed myself because I think we had it going good for maybe 2 years. But then like, I don't know, life got in the way. Maybe it got COVID or something. I don't know what happened, but I have like 2 stems left. So I do need to replace that.
Right.
But no, in all seriousness, even talking about outside, talking about sunlight, because I know that does affect, because a lot of times people will see that the tips might burn out, or different elements. Like, what is the perfect setting for, you know, talking about snake plants, because you know, a lot of people do
snake plants are great. There's 72 varieties of snake plants.
Okay.
So many different colors and options and whatever. Some people think of the annoying plant that grows crazy outside, right? I personally love it, just like you stated. It's very modern and clean looking. But the cool thing is they can go all the way in the darkest location, but they're grown in full sun.
Okay.
I don't know if people know that.
I didn't realize that.
There's no shade house for these things. Are grown in full sun.
Wow.
And then they get brought into a shade house, and then they go into a home.
Gotcha.
See that little acclimation period.
Yep.
So there is there is a challenge that people have where they go, oh, I think my plant needs more light, I'm going to throw it outside.
Right.
Well, you wouldn't throw a baby outside, would you? Right.
Yeah.
Maybe you would. I don't know.
I don't think so. You might have a few phone calls.
Right. But immediately going from inside out, they're going to get sunburn immediately, right? So you would have to like slowly progress them. But snake plant is an amazing plant. That plant, you probably wouldn't have to water but once a month.
Yeah,
maybe even 1 month and a half.
Right. So they do what, like...
What happens over time, what I know what happened to yours is over 2 years, it starts to accumulate water after water after water, and eventually I guarantee the soil is just super wet.
Yeah, it was probably too much.
It's called root rot.
And it's hard to judge that as a homeowner, because I'm no plant expert. I mean...
You could let that thing dry out for 6 months, not touch it, and I guarantee it'll grow back.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. I'll have to test that. I'll just put it in a corner somewhere. Let it go. So talking about that, because you did say that there is a transition period when they're bringing that plant indoors, but what about outdoors? Like, is this what they do with all snake plants, where they obviously grow it and then bring it inside, or ones that are meant for outside, do they leave outside so it doesn't have to acclimate to anything different?
Right. Snake plant is very interesting, though. You could throw that right outside. It's such a strong plant.
Yeah.
It is. But a fiddle leaf ficus, you can't. They're very sensitive. It'll burn immediately, right?
But do people plant fiddle leaves in shaded areas outside?
This is the thing. Fiddle leaf ficus, it's a ficus.
Right.
It has the strongest root system known.
Okay.
Do not plant it in the ground.
Really?
Yeah, that's why how many times do you see it in the ground?
You're right.
Rarely,
Never.
right?
Never.
Right. Because they know that's the one you don't plant in the ground.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So talking about, we mentioned it before, the modern versus more of like the traditional design.
Right.
Obviously, snake plant is very modern. What's your go-to for, like, say somebody has a beautiful Mediterranean style home?
Right. And for the inside?
No, outside.
Oh, outside.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, it depends. I love bougainvillea.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. That's a plant it's really easy to grow. And people say they don't like their roots to be messed with.
Right.
A lot of times they'll even plant them in the ground in the grow pot.
Okay.
Right?
They just leave it.
Just leave it. Leave her alone. You know what I mean? We put them in planters. We don't add new soil. We'll build up the base of the planter with foam.
Okay.
We'll put a tray inside. We'll put the grow pot on top of it and fill the void with mulch.
Right.
Right. We didn't mess with it. We didn't add any more soil, but it's an amazing plant.
That's awesome. So, in talking about the whole design process, evolving products, creating products, you displayed something pretty spectacular in the last Fort Lauderdale Home Show. This is something that I can't say that I've seen before.
Right.
And I feel like I want to lead people on a little bit further, but I'm just going to go into it because they're probably wondering, what is this? Artificial floral ceilings.
Yeah, amazing.
Where did that come from? Is that like a dream or was it a nightmare? You're like, oh my God, I got to do this now.
Well, yeah, I guess I'm always, wanting to create. I get bored quickly.
Right.
That's my challenge, right? I guess it's a good thing, but a client of mine asked me if I would do a project in Windwood Jungle, and put a floral ceiling. Well, I figured out all the ways to make it happen, right? And then I just took off from there. But it's an amazing little thing that people can add to, say, for instance, in a home that you have like a library, or you have a little sitting room or an office. We can make an amazing, beautiful floral ceiling that's just, it's a whole nother level. You saw it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just gives you this warm vibe, and it's just beautiful.
And is this, because it's obviously a newer application that you started doing, are you doing entire rooms, or are people doing accent areas within a room? What's...
We went to California to do a room out there that was a gigantic room. It was 15,000 florals, but
wow.
we covered the walls and the ceiling. It was crazy.
That's incredible. And we're going to share a picture of that. That is absolutely stunning. I've seen images of it, and it's just like next level thought, because it's not like people don't just do this.
Right.
Working with the professional, what I want to really go into is knowing who you're working with, because at the end of the day, yes, there are places to go buy a plant, have a planter, but if you want to separate your home, your business, your building, because you're working both commercial, you're working with developers, you're working with restaurants, you're working with homeowners, designers. It doesn't matter who it is.
Right.
Tell us and this could be for whether it's a homeowner, designer, anybody, what are the questions that somebody should ask the individual that they're looking to work with?
Right. As
far as being the professional,
right.
What should they ask you or somebody else to make sure they're going to get what they're looking for?
Right. Well, it's so important. Say, for instance, you're doing a balcony and you want plants out there. You really need to ask them, hey, can this handle the wind and the salt? I live by the ocean, the salt water, right? Really, and that's a great question. If you live in a condo, walk outside, look at the plants you see around that condo. That's probably what you can do.
Right.
Okay. Because if you notice, the more east you go, all the plants will start looking the same.
Right, you're right.
They really
absolutely.
are. There's 6 different ones. That's it. That's your choices. So, a lot of designers will make this mistake. They have a certain look they're going for, but does it work?
They're going to force it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it really, you should ask your designer, hey, are you sure? Is this going to work for this location? Because who wants a phone call later, right?
Well, and the thing is, these plants, it's an investment. So it's not just the design. The designer wants the look, and they're going to get a beautiful picture. But the homeowner or the business, they're living with it.
Yeah, and I think definitely do self-watering inside.
Okay.
Ask for self-watering, right? There's many options. We take the German Lechuza self-watering planter.
Right.
If you don't like that, we'll put it inside of your planter.
Right.
As long as that plant becomes self-watering.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's also that the stick, the thermometer, or it's not a thermometer, but the water meter
yeah.
that you can use it if need be.
Yeah, yeah.
But self-watering is the way to go.
It's the way to go.
Yeah.
It's even for the plant guy.
And it's easy to find. Like, it's not like people have to search too far.
No. Type in self-watering planter.
Yeah, and they're everywhere.
Yeah.
No, so in which obviously this new product that you're going to be launching soon, that just solves everybody's problem.
It's really nice.
Because, obviously the low no maintenance,
right.
self-watering, beauty, height.
We can do height. And then the frame is amazing because you can get it in any color you want.
Right.
Right. So you're only going to see the sides of it, right?
And
the base.
And this is proprietary. This is something like, if you want it, they must go to you.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is yours.
Yeah.
You're innovating the industry. And that brings me to another question, because, you're always, like you said, you get bored easy. Mm-hmm. Innovating, taking trends further, but really you're a trendsetter. You're raising the bar. You're doing different things. But what I've found from you, which is actually one of the most impressive things, is that you want to educate your peers.
Yeah.
You don't look at competition as competition. I mean, there's plenty of business out there.
There is.
And that's what speaks to you as an individual. And I kind of want to dive into that as far as your feelings, as far as the industry as a whole.
Right.
And how you're looking to obviously educate. I mean, you're inspiring every single day. I mean, you just have to, I'm going to take a quick moment and plug you right now. Open up your phone, hit the plant guy on social media, and you're going to be inspired, and you'll get a really clear picture as far as what Matthew does and accomplishes. But talk to me about just the industry and competition, how you take it.
It's so interesting. Just like the show you had recently in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
And say from Plant Me Rosie.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Right? So that was me, back in the day too. And I remember it's amazing to see all of these. I learned from them, know, and so it's exciting to see it. There's plenty of business for everyone, right?
Absolutely.
But we all learn from everyone, and it's just an exciting field. Plants weren't that in 12 years ago.
It really wasn't, yeah.
But they are in now. So, but it's a really great business. It's a great camaraderie, and
and that's what it's all about, because, when it comes to competition, I always wonder when I talk to people, like, they have to find their inspiration somewhere, whether it's a person, whether it's a movie, whether it's a song, an artist, whatever. But do you have that source of inspiration that, you've found that has inspired you?
I just, like I said, seeing Plant Me Rosie, seeing all these other people that are striving, and A's Ornamental with
Willie.
Willie.
Well, yeah. I mean, his podcast, he's done a great job as far as diving into the industry itself.
It's exciting.
Yeah, the Plant Movement podcast. Definitely, everybody check him out, because if you're specifically looking for all aspects of plants, nursery, growing, business as a whole, he is a great resource for that. So talking about now to the next 5 years to 10 years, what are we going to expect from the plant guy?
Well, hopefully we'll be on TV soon.
Absolutely.
So that would be really cool.
Without a doubt. You've been working a lot on content, TV.
Yeah. So, but the sky's the limit. We're excited. We're developing some artificial product right now.
Okay.
And we're excited about that.
That's amazing. And, right now, like, one of the top trends is, smart homes, technology, all of that. When are we going to see a smart plant? I guess,
actually,
I guess this is, right?
Well, actually, the one that I developed is, I'm actually going to pull in another vendor. And so basically, it'll have a probe that's automatically inside the plant. You'll get a text message when you need to water this plant.
That's incredible.
Right. So we're working with that too. There's just so many cool things out there.
So many integrations. So we've talked about a lot of different areas when it comes to your inspiration, your development, where you started, where you are now. And I can speak firsthand, seeing when we first met, which was when you were starting back in 2008.
Yeah.
To where you are now, it inspires me in everything that I do on a day-to-day, because you're the perfect example as far as starting out with an idea and bringing it and really leading an industry.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Without a doubt. Yeah. And just to recap, it could be something that you've already mentioned today, but give me your top 3 to 5 tips. Somebody's looking for plants in general. What should they be thinking?
Right. Okay. So basically, well, one, if you're thinking about plants inside, you can look on our Instagram for one, and you can look through there and see what we use a lot of, right? And that's going to tell you what works inside, right? Also, just ask questions, especially when you go to a nursery, tell them the location of where you're trying to put this,
Maybe even take pictures.
Oh my God, pictures. That's the best. If you ever come see us, bring pictures, right? Because that's how we work. Bring pictures of where you want to plant and where you want it outside, all those kind of questions. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I can't thank you enough. I mean, we've learned so much. If somebody, obviously they can go to your social media, but if somebody's listening to this, they want to contact you, I know you're easily reachable.
Yeah.
Share with us. What's the best way to reach you?
It's theplantguy.com. It's The Plant Guy on Instagram. It's The Plant Guy, right, on TikTok. Yeah, it's The Plant Guy.
Yeah, it's The Plant Guy.
Easy.
Go to the website. All the links are there. You can click on everything. But if you're looking to be inspired, find what's best for your home, get ideas, doesn't matter where you live in the world. If you want to see some of the most spectacular installations, and you do travel.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't matter where they live.
We're going to the Bahamas soon, and then we have to go to Jamaica, California, New York soon. Yeah.
Amazing. So, Matthew, I can't thank you enough for being here today. For everybody, please go to Matthew's Instagram, The Plant Guy. Check him out on his website, theplantguy.com. Check him out everywhere on all social media platforms. But until next time, I appreciate you guys all listening to this podcast episode. You can always check us out on our website at homeshows.net. Look at us on our social media, and you'll see a lot of features of Matthew and his team as well, at FL Home Shows. But until next time, please subscribe to our channel. Get all of the upcoming podcast episodes as we're looking to bring you the latest in home design and home improvement. But stay tuned for the next episode.